week 3 in La Liga EA Sports is Rayo Vallecano against Football Club Barcelona, and kickoff is just moments away. Rayo look to scupper Barca's unblemished record, and they have lost only one of their last 4 home league games against the Catalans. Batalla is happy to launch one long, and it was a great pass. Alvaro, this is surely 1-0, and a save from Joan Garcia that denies Rayo the opening goal. Really good chance for Rayo, and it was direct football. Here is Rafinha in on goal, unselfish. Ferran couldn't reach it, and the chance is gone for Barcelona, who must now defend. De Frutos into the centre, and out came Joan Garcia. Another piece of good goalkeeping. Lamin away from one challenge, and Javaria got back. And the referee has pointed to the penalty spot here. The penalty stands, and 5 minutes before half-time, it is young Lamine Yamal who has the opportunity to put Barcelona in front, and he does it very coolly indeed. He won the penalty, and he converts it. It's Rayo 0, Barcelona 1.
Didn't feel like there was any doubt that that was going in. Lamine wanted that penalty, he won it. He got the ball, he said, let me take it. And he did, sending Batalla the wrong way, and that is not easy to take a penalty in these kind of situations. It is loud, it is hostile here. Does it look like he cares? Does it look like he's affected by that?
And swung again for Barcelona. Rayo looking for the equaliser. Is he? And on the rebound, Koundé lunges in. The flag has gone up. It was another excellent save from Joan Garcia.
Well, it did look offside initially. It's very tight.
And delivers low. It's cleared as far as Pedri. Oh no, fires one into Isi, and now Rafinha's cross. And there it was there. It was a chance for the defender, who couldn't beat Batalla.
We've seen Eric Garcia get into advanced positions and score some important goals for Barcelona over the last 6 months or so, notably in the Champions League. But he is a player that likes to get forward into advanced positions. This is difficult though, fired across him, as well as trying to score, but not getting it there.
That's loose from Eric. Barcelona in a pickle. De Frutos! Flag has gone up, and the celebrations are curtailed. From Isi, unlocked, and there's the equaliser, and it is Fran Perez. The goal's been coming, and it is the player sent on by Inigo who has grabbed the goal, totally unmarked, and he made no mistake with his finish. To do, launch one, and it is outstanding from Isi, the control and the pass to set De Frutos through, and once again Joan Garcia is there.
De Frutos is looking around to see if the offside flag was up, which would have given him some kind of redemption for missing this chance. How has he not scored here? There is no offside flag.
Cis over the top. It's Rayo, he has a look into the centre, cut back for Isi, Isi! And on the follow-up, Rayo into the centre, surely Cameo! He looks immediately across and sees that the flag is up again.
Well, the initial ball over the top to Rayo, he did look offside here. He's not offside there.
Full time at Vallecas. It is Rayo Vallecano 1, Barcelona 1.
missing fairways. You're feeding the fish.
Better stock up there.
Guys got some balls for us.
Okay, sure.
Think you bomb it like Bryson?
Maybe. Scotty and Rory use these.
Gentlemen, have you tried these?
How about some fairway finders?
That's the one. That's the one I need. That's the one.
Yes. All of this and more under one umbrella.
Every pivotal moment from the world's biggest tours. Follow the legends, rising stars, and unforgettable rivalries. From first tee to final roar. If it's golf, it's on Supersport.
We aren't kidding.
On paper, Real Madrid looking like favourites for this game, particularly because Real Sociedad haven't made that strong start.
Yep, and Real Sociedad once again, following on from last season's form, are struggling to find goals. And they're struggling to find points. So Real Madrid, of course, the majority of games in La Liga do go into the game as big favourites. But I still think this will be a competitive match. I think Sergio Francisco will set out his team really well. First time this season, Real Madrid play against opposition that are not playing a back five.
To Vinicius, Carreras making the run up ahead of him. Vinicius going into the space. But well watched by Elizondo. Back with Real Madrid though is Carreras. Mbappe. Lovely ball in. Mbappe got on the end of it. Ramiro denying him. What a pass though from Dani Carvajal.
Yeah, and it's outside of the foot. Cross. Keeping the Modric tradition going up Real Madrid.
He was giving the ball away here to Kylian Mbappe. That is not a good move. Mbappe through on goal. And you know how that ends. Kylian Mbappe with a fine finish to give Real Madrid the lead. And how about that for a learning curve for young Mikel Gotti? Gives the ball away and a few seconds later, punished. And here is Guinea Jr. out to Mbappe. And still Mbappe. Oh, so close.
It was a huge problem down the right side of defence for Real Sociedad. Aniston, though, is more of a centre-back than a right-back. He's playing there. Adam Baru is on the bench today.
Nice corner again for Real Madrid, whipped in. Oh, it's a tremendous save again. And it's Ramiro denying Militao once more. Mbappe is being tugged, forced wide. And then the danger is cleared. Wilson has fouled Oyarzabal, and there's a red card shown. Wilson is holding up two fingers, I think, to show that there were two defenders.
A defender alongside him, clearly. There's one long ball down the middle. Surprised Oyarzabal got the goal side of him. Howson has to do more to avoid colliding with Oyarzabal. Real Madrid playing no different with 10 than they did with the 11.
Mbappe's in behind Elizondo there and got round the back of him. Here is Kylian Mbappe, pulls it back at Goulet! Made by Kylian Mbappe, finished off by Arda Goulet. A second goal right on the stroke of half-time for Real Madrid. Some individual brilliance. And the visitors double their advantage.
We took that a wild and captive game, just as I was saying. Real Madrid don't look any different with 10 men than they did with the 11. They're still pouring forward, they're still winning the ball back, high up the pitch.
Here's Guedes. Brilliant ball in, what a chance! And it's somehow not in the back of the net. Well, we cannot believe that Real Sociedad haven't scored there. That is an extraordinary passage of play. And somehow Real Madrid remain 2-0 up. Really strong start to this second half from Real Sociedad. And towards the back post. Guedes with the header. With Barrenechea. They're calling for a handball, and a penalty is given. The penalty is given. The referee just allowed play to continue, but he's brought it back for a handball, which not many people from the Real Madrid side are contesting.
Totti was the minder, wasn't he? The youngster making his debut, looking after the skipper. Has he done a good job?
Cabal takes and dispatches with ease. Game on at the Real Arena.
And the life is back in the stadium. The life has been put back into the team of Real Sociedad.
Corvachategi. Oyarzabal. And it was a beautifully worked move. Just threading passes through the Madrid midfield. And Oyarzabal denied by Courtois.
Corvachategi looks the part, doesn't he, in midfield?
And the Real Arena, it's finished. Real Sociedad 1, Real Madrid 2.
Watch La Liga live on SuperSport, the world's best football. It's on. This broadcast is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet. Play with champions.
You never quite know what you're going to get. The stakes are high. They don't come much more fiercely contested than this.
Broadcast proudly brought to you by Guinness, the official beer of the Premier League, and MTN. Go make a difference.
Download the new MyDSTV app today by scanning the QR code. It's faster, easier, and designed just for you with everything you need all in one place.
Welcome to a world of extraordinary entertainment with DSTV Prestige. This is where you belong. A front row seat for members only. Experience unmatched lifestyle benefits and discounts. More experiences you deserve. Extra view like never before. Plus, a dedicated relationship manager. It's beyond entertainment. It's a lifestyle. Sign up for DSTV Prestige today with entertainment and luxury that's perfect for you.
Stay connected to catch all the action live on SuperSport. This broadcast is proudly brought to you by MTN. Go make a difference.
Great things are happening on the BetNiger mobile app. Enjoy betting services on a different level. Access a wide variety of betting options. Bet on your favorite sports with great odds. Win big with our mobile games. Get great bonuses and promos and start winning. Withdraw your winnings with zero stress. Download the BetNiger app from the Apple App Store and Google Play Store today. BetNiger, more than a bet.
While I make another buck.
A unique setting for tonight's game in La Liga EA Sports. Welcome to the Estadio Johan Cruyff for Barcelona against Valencia. It's the first home game of the season for the Catalans, although with their return to the Camp Nou delayed once more, and a concert taking place this evening at Montjuic where they played last season. It means we're here in their training complex in the stadium where their B team plays. A capacity of 6,000 makes it an intimate setting, But the small dimensions of the stadium shouldn't reduce the importance of this game. At kick-off, the champions are 5 points behind leaders Real Madrid. Valencia, for their part, are looking for their first away win of the season. Last season, they were very strong at home, but did not pick up many victories on the road. I'm Phil Kitchamalides, Graham Hunter alongside me for tonight's game. Graham, the build-up to this game dominated by where it's being played, but we're here now and we're ready to enjoy what should be a good clash.
Good evening, everybody. Phil, it should be, because both of these teams tried to play front foot football under Corberan. That didn't go too well last season when the sides met. It was an 11-goal difference across the Cup and the league meetings. However, I think this is a more robust, more daring Valencia side, and one which is equipped to do something they very rarely do, which is win against Barcelona in the city of Barcelona.
We heard both managers speaking before the game, asked about the stadium and where it's being played, neither making any allusions to the fact that it might have any impact on the match. Carlos Corberan, the Valencia manager, surely feeling that it's probably better to play Barcelona here than in a bigger stadium.
I think so. He made the point during the week that, yeah, if we were playing in a completely renovated town, and there were 105,000 people there, this would be a really big advantage. But today he was much more somber and sober and pointed out that the dimensions of the pitch are identical to those of Montjuic and the old Camp Nou. It's about what players feel in terms of the Camp Nou. Everybody talks about such a giant pitch, whereas they never look at the dimensions. It's about the vastness of the arena and the concentration span of your players. When they come to somewhere that's hostile, you look up, you're surrounded by enemy fans everywhere. And some players, no matter how disciplined or professional they are, do get distracted. There'll be no chance of this today. I often worked at the stadium for Barcelona's women's team in the Champions League. It's a fantastic place to watch and play football, because there's not a lot of space for fans, because this would be a match normally where you'd expect anywhere between 55,000 at Montjuic and nearly 100,000 at Camp Nou.
Well, 16,151 Barcelona season ticket holders were eligible to attend this game. To have been eligible, they had to have had a full season ticket for the last 2 seasons at Montjuic. They had until 10 AM on Friday morning to apply for tickets to this game. Then a draw was held to determine who would receive tickets.
Late breaking news. In that lottery, you had to have the middle name Jordi. You had to have a Catalan flag tattooed on your forearm. They say football's a lottery for all. In this instance, it certainly was. And those who've won the right to be here are going to be noisy. But we've already noticed that these Blaugrana fans won't have the singing all their own way either.
290 Valencia fans in the stadium, which is a decent proportion percentage-wise of the attendees this evening. So expect them to make themselves heard as well as we hear the Barcelona hymno.
Funny what club loyalty does, because for outsiders, neutrals like you and I and the millions watching around the world, this has been a little bit of a botch up. It hasn't been good for the club's prestige. Those fans who are in, full lusty voice.
But it feels like they're here to represent all the other fans that can't be here tonight as well, so they will make noise. As we take you through the 2 starting 11, 6 changes from the side that drew 1-1 with Rayo Vallecano on match day 3. Joan Garcia in goal, Gerard Martin, Pau Kubasi, Eric Garcia and Jules Koundé in midfield, Marc Casado alongside Pedri. There's a first appearance for Ronnie Bardghji for Barcelona as well. Fermin Lopez, Marcus Rashford and Ferran Torres making up an interesting looking Barcelona 11. The Valencia captain Jose Luis Gaya, who is back in the starting 11, having been suspended on match day 3 for getting sent off on match day 2. He's one of 2 changes from the 3-0 win over Getafe on match day 3 for Valencia. Aguirre Zabala in goal, a back 5, Fulquier, Tárrega, Diakabi, Copete and Gaya. Javi Guerra and Santa Maria holding things in midfield, and Juma, Diego Lopez and Hugo Duro up front for Valencia. before the game kicks off, there will be a minute's silence held in memory of the Barcelona club members who passed away during the previous season. It's a tradition that happens in the first home game of the season in many Spanish teams' stadiums. So we are just about ready then for kick-off for a game which might end up being the answer to a quiz question one day in the future, which was the first La Liga game for Barcelona to be played at the Estadio Johan Cruyff. There is a little bit of pressure as well on Barcelona, as we said, 5 points behind Real Madrid, who have started with 4 wins from 4. Barcelona dropping points on match day 3, and now up against Valencia.
I'd argue 2 other things add to the pressure cooker, which is Lamine Yamal is the most resolving of issues player, the most dangerous footballer in their squad. He's absent. And secondly, all this season they've played really poorly.
We are underway then with Barcelona kicking from left to right in this first half. Lamine Yamal picking up an injury on international duty. He's still playing both games. Something which Hansi Flick was absolutely furious about. Haven't seen him quite that angry for a while.
He got all statistical and interrupted one of the questions at the press conference. You remember that he detailed exactly how many minutes Lamine had played in each situation. A 3-0 win in Sofia against Bulgaria, and then a 6-goal thrashing of Turkey and Konya, and it made his point sound pretty good. But now there's a finger pointing going on between sources at the FA saying, well, he left here uninjured, and Flick, who gave both barrels, exactly as you pointed out, and named De La Fuente and said that the medics at the Spain team had given analgesics, painkillers to Lamine to play through. So not everybody's telling the entire truth.
Of course, it is a big loss not having Lamine Yamal available for Barcelona, but it is a chance for us to see Rooney Bardghji. First minutes in a Barcelona shirt. Competitively did feature in the Joan Gamper Trophy, the traditional curtain raiser to the season, which was supposed to be played at the Camp Nou on the 10th of August, but was played in this stadium instead. Here is Pedri. Fermin.
Yeah, just for those who haven't seen young Rooney, born in Kuwait City, Swedish national, played for a Danish team before coming here, and if you remember that Danish team, FC Copenhagen, and you're a Manchester United fan, first of all, tough day, people. He scored a wonder goal, a winning goal in a 4-3 win against Manchester United, the Ten Hag Manchester United, on a day when because Rashford was sent off. The little connections, the 5 steps from Kevin Bacon that football perpetually throws up.
Here is Copete, summer signing to replace Christian Mosquera, who left for pretty big money to Arsenal.
Mosquera's settling in really well, playing with lots of confidence. Copete, a different footballer, but for the money spent and given their need, a pretty apt piece of business, no?
Absolutely.
You pointed out that Flick really looked busy and angry, and he prepared his speech for the press conference.
Here's the chance here for Marcus Rashford, who's through on goal. Rashford blazes it over. Really decent opportunity there for Marcus Rashford.
And although he scored and played quite well on the Korean tour, this is the stadium where he's played his best football for Football Club Barcelona. That's a poor attempt at finish, but his against Cesc Fabregas' City outside Como, he dropped deep, received the ball from Joan Garcia with his back to goal, inside his own half, swiveled, played a nice 1-2 with Fermin and centred for Rafinha. It's the most fluent, silky, powerful football Rashford has yet shown.
If you're wondering, Rafinha is on the bench this evening. It is a really, let's say, star-studded bench for Barcelona. Rafinha, Lewandowski, Dani Olmo, Araujo, Christensen, plenty of experience there. Here is Ferran Torres, and he was immediately looking for the run of Marcus Rashford.
But we can help a little bit to if there are culés out there watching this game with us, club insiders, genuine insiders, have leaked the fact that Rafinha committed that cardinal sin in reflect of being late for a meeting, and therefore dropped. Two players have been already last season. Just
First corner whipped in, and there is Jules Koundé arriving. Rashford with the effort. He watched it all the way.
Would you agree, pre-rehearsed the ball in front post and knock back Koundé's run? He does have an eye for goal, he does have timing for goal, and in fact he probably should score here. He just takes the ball a little bit too soon, directs it against Zabala, the basket keeper signed from Athletic Club. Big chance. This should give us and it's just the tiniest touch from the Frenchman, his French compatriot, which ruins Koundé's big moment.
Fourquier getting in the way of what would have been the opening goal for Barcelona.
Fourquier was such a beneficiary of Corberan last season. His form, his confidence, his rampaging runs made him look a far superior footballer than he had previously. Take that elixir of confidence for me.
Certainly. They trained with him at centre-back during the week, with Luis Rioja at right wing-back, but decided to go with Fourquier at right-back and Copete as the centre-back alongside Jacobi and Tárrega this evening.
Yeah, right now it's very clearly three centre-backs plus two defenders, not what's called carrileros, wing-backs. Corberan wants that to change, and he wants to occupy more of the midfield. He wants the wing-backs to push forward and squeeze the midfield. But he made a very good point in Saturday's press conference where, when being referred back to the 7 goals that he lost and the 5 goals he lost in 2 games last season, he said, listen, systems are systems. It wasn't the systems that failed, it was my players. And it's true, they gave the ball away perpetually, they looked naive and open, they didn't chase back, the first pressure on the ball wasn't good enough. These things need to change more than, is it the system that can win them the victory here?
We've got a glimpse of some of the players who are unavailable tonight for Barcelona through injury.
A couple of them. What was that little section of the stand worth in terms of transfer fees? A lot of dosh?
A lot. Players unavailable: Balde, Gavi, Lamine Yamal, Frankie de Jong and Marc-Andre ter Stegen, of course, as well. Here is Pedri. Lovely ball. Shot from Daji, closed down, and here is Hugo Duro clashing with Eric Garcia, but nothing in that.
Massive left foot intervention by Eric Garcia. And Rooney, one of the things that will trouble you a little bit, if you look at what his development is going to be, is he plays in the same position as Lamine and does the same thing, comes in onto his much stronger foot, the left. How does he get game time?
Here is Marcus Rashford looking to make the most of his game time. And he had Fermin completely open, waiting for the pass, couldn't find him. Fourquier battling and winning a free kick where there wasn't a huge amount of contact. A bustling run there from Marcus Rashford getting to the byline.
Frustrating for the Englishman, who's got so many people looking at him really closely, microscopically closely. Got a burst of confidence where he takes it to the byline, holds it, comes back, and then does the simple thing quite poorly. This moment, you do when you're fully confident in your fitness, your sharpness, your body, it's a really nice piece of play, and the camera angle back to exactly what you said. A side-footed right-footed pass into the path of Fermin. Certainly is a goal chance.
Here is Fermin looking for the run of Ferran. Copete cutting it out.
That's what cost him last season. Exactly that flaw. Don't give Barcelona chances you don't have to.
Here is Pedri. Not too bad, Daci. Comparisons with his style in terms of Lamine. The age is similar as well, he's only 19.
Yeah. That's not a kid. Nearly 2 years old. He's going to be 20 in November. It's amazing to think the junior kid, the guy who got to prove himself, is at least a year and 3/4 older than Lamine, the phenomenon. And have you ever in your football career, Phil, seen a moment where an 18-year-old is absent and everyone's like, what always me? This is a disaster. Danny Carvajal spoke about him the other day on the radio. I think you were tuning into that interview, and he said, listen, at 18, I was just kicking cans in the youth setup at Real Madrid. To be a decisive player at 18 is close to miraculous. Would you?
Speaking of interviews, Lamine Yamal gave an interview this week to veteran Spanish journalist on his podcast. He said, I don't dream of winning the Ballon d'Or, I dream of winning many Ballon d'Ors. Which was the headline. Here is Fermin, and it falls to Ferran Torres. And he chips it over, and he really should have scored.
So much to talk about there. It looked offside, it hasn't been given. Fermin's intervention is so sweet there. Twice, he's quickest, bravest. The finish is exquisite, but that's just so unfortunate. It's a definite touch in my book for the Basque goalkeeper. And this is lovely composure. Not something Ferran is always associated with. There's a fingertip touch without question, and probably just enough to put it into the roof of the net rather than the back of the net. Barca get nothing for it, not even a corner. Nice football, though.
Well, it won't go down as the magnificent save that it was, but Aguirre Zabala fingertips to deny Ferran what would have been his third goal of the season.
I know you're not a massive fan of having questions picked of you while you're commentating, but you feel a little bit of sympathy for Dimitrievski. Came way this season, thought that Mamadashvili leaving was going to be my big moment, and they outspend well on a really good goalkeeper.
A little bit, yes. He is on the bench tonight, Stola Dimitrievski, signed from Rayo Vallecano.
And a good egg, a good keeper. You might have thought he was going to inherit the earth, but maybe he was too weak. But in all seriousness, again, Zabala has been a right good signing. If you're Dimitrievski, your nose should be out of joint, I think.
Here is Rashford charging once again, straight into Tárrega. Pedri, Koundé making a run. That's who he'd spotted.
What positions can they get to my foot? How many clubs? Maybe Manchester City have your two of your three biggest goal opportunities coming from your right back, right in the heart of the opposition.
Javi Guerra getting forward. Tárrega. Javi Guerra had made the run through the middle, but he would have been well offside had the pass found him.
One of the things you'd expect is that Barcelona, who have looked ragged in the implementation of their offside line, particularly against the crafty contours of Isi in the last game, which they should have lost to Vallecas. The implementation of the line has looked ragged, and Valencia, whether they've got so many passers who are subtle and clever enough to release, they've got the runners, they've got the people with the timing of the run, whether that's Danjuma, or Maduro, or Diego Lopez, that can punish Football Club Barcelona here.
He's Casado, which was made of a possible exit for him towards the end of the summer transfer. Here he is. Manager definitely didn't want to lose him.
Sad thing is that because he's a youth product, you get sort of brownie points for selling a youth product when you're trying to get in touch with the financial fair play. But he's such a good footballer. Well, not only did he start in the first quarter of last season for Football Club Barcelona, when he made his Spain debut, particularly his starting debut against Switzerland, he absolutely strolled through it. He's a footballer of tremendous ability.
And a Barcelona fan at heart.
Yeah, that sometimes counts in the modern game, and as you've alluded to, he said to the club, I'm not going.
To Casado, who is Fermin. Bardaci. Strikes it. Well, took that first time, connected really well, straight into the arms of Aguirre Zabala, but Graham...
Can we say strikes it Lamine Yamal style?
You feel like you've seen that shot before?
I love it when you can anticipate my every thought and my every word. But in all seriousness, one of the things he has to prove in order to get more game time is how strong his right foot is.
Here's Dan Chuma putting pressure on Eric Garcia, who was up to the challenge. Now Koundé looking for Rashford. Tarrega, one of the tallest players on the pitch, winning the header. Santa Maria dwelling, robbed by Casado. It was Fermin with the shot.
It's one of the comic that when you can hear from the bench, I don't know if all of you have heard it, but as the ball had already been nipped off his toes, and he was completely, you could see him looking around as Fermin ate him up, meaning either his brain's not quite in gear yet, or there weren't enough passing options, and I think the latter is probably true.
Well, it's been a very positive start here from Barcelona. We saw the possession statistics. 70%, 7 shots in the opening 15 minutes.
And playing well doesn't guarantee points. There are no extra bonus points for nice football, but this is by far the most complete football they've played this season. They started well against Mallorca and then just went off the boil completely, and eventually it was against 9 men. This is probably the most impressive quarter of an hour of Barcelona's season so far.
Tarrega cut out that attack. Fulquier gets his head down, charges forward. Straight into Pau Kubasi. Timely panning to Ronald Araujo on the bench.
The Glums. There used to be a cartoon strip called The Glums, and Lewandowski, no good reason apart from him having had international duty within Europe, so no jet lag, left out again. Although distinctly out of form, I have to say for a player that I like very much watching and interviewing, because he's bright and articulate, but he's a really intricately skilled footballer. At certain stages of last season, he was a key footballer. He's been out of form for months. So there was a lot of glumness on that bench.
There is Dan Chuma, does well to bring in Fulquier, makes his way into the box. Here is Lopez with the cross. Right in front of that travelling Valencia support, which is making itself felt here. Last season this fixture was won 7-1 by Barcelona. Fans chanting that Valencia are playing at home because they're making the noise. The Barcelona fans aren't making the noise. There is Casado.
Nice football playing out all came from Joan Garcia shouting to Eric Garcia, leave it my ball, so there was more space to start the play out, and Barcelona affected it quite well.
There is Fermin. There is competition for that place between him and Dani Olmo. We saw Rafinha used there as well. It feels like
And it's a position where Pedri sometimes played in the national team in between the two wingers. So,
although not in the last international break, and he played so well that maybe we won't see him play there.
Okay, I know, folks, just bear with us while Phil and I have a sidebar. When Fabian Ruiz and Roger are fully fit, let me tell you for sure that a 20% puts Pedri back in the 10 over to the two wingers. Simple as.
Here is Rooney, and there is Ferran. Shot was blocked. Madura will chase this. Eder Garcia, who started every game this season, obviously impressed. Hansi Flick. He only started 14 games in the league in the previous campaign. There is Rashford. He was offside.
Did you see that invention coming? Because you analyse, you predict a lot about patterns and choices. When he was moved to right back, it didn't seem the most obvious, natural thing. Of course, we don't see training. But Eric Garcia has thrived and has specifically said he prefers playing there than he does playing in organised pivotal midfield. Had you anticipated that coming, or does it now seem quite natural because of his game reading?
It does now.
Yeah. He's playing really well, isn't he?
He really is.
Yeah. To the extent that he's largely kept Koundé out of the side this season until Koundé started at Vallecas and didn't really have all that good a game, would you say?
He had a tough game.
Tough game is the right phrase. Folks, that's a euphemism. I hope you all know what we mean.
Here is Eric to Jules Koundé.
We haven't seen them for 6 or 7 minutes, but the positions, the stats haven't changed for. This is not what Corberan wants. Structure, level of commitment, 1 or 2 last-ditch interceptions, yes, fine. But he wants his team generally and tonight to be on the ball more. Just Barcelona have made very few errors in circulation of the ball.
Here is Koundé, bit of space up ahead of him. Danjuma tracking back. Gaya to Santa Maria. Here's Rashford. It's one back quickly by Barcelona.
Started with a very good interception from Casado.
It's Ferran with the turn, looking for Rashford. He did have Gerard Martin out wide. He has to get back now as Diego Lopez comes forward. Pedri tracking back.
You mentioned Gerard Martin. I'd have thought Valencia would try to target him. This man is a direct opponent. Diego Lopez, clever, quick. I think his future lies in a central striking role. Gerard Martin, the coach absolutely loves. One of the very few natural left-footers in the squad. He's been talked about by Flick as a potential left centre-back. He's very error-prone. There's no doubt about that. Potentially, his distribution when he's out of the pitch might be better than Alex Balde's. But in terms of defensive errors, for example, anybody, neutral or otherwise, who watched those 2 semi-finals in the Champions League where Inter progressed, the number of mistakes which cost goals made by Gerard Martin across the 2 legs was gigantic.
Well, there's an error from Fulquier. Giving it to Bardaggi. Now it's with Marcus Rashford. Fulquier getting back. Pedri. Koundé once again getting into the box. Here's Gerard Martin. Gives it straight to Diego Lopez.
Yeah, thanks for that, Gerard.
Then Diego Lopez comes forward. He could have taken that in his stride.
He's quicker. He's quicker than the Barca left back. 100%.
To the midway point in this first half, Barcelona absolutely dominating here at the Estadio Johan Cruyff.
One thing I'd point out is that whether it's the man marking that Gaya is doing on Rooney Bargi, or whether it's simply the fact that in normal circumstances Barca funnel the ball to Lamine Yamal all the time because they just know that it will commit rival players, that he will do something intelligent or sensational. They're not using that ball to Rooney Bargi just as much, and as such they're a little bit embottled in the middle of the pitch. The 3 centre-halves for Valencia are being tested, but they're managing to squeeze Barcelona quite well in the crucial seconds when there's an opportunity around the box. Flick will want more use of width, I'm certain about that.
through to then Aguirre Zabala. Valencia, who were extremely strong at home last season, had the 4th best home record in the division under Carlos Corberán since he took over on the 27th of December. In fact, if the season started when Carlos Corberán took over, they would have finished 7th in the European place. It was a noticeable upturn in their form from Christmas onwards.
I think they were bottom when they took over, something bottom 3.
They were in the relegation zone.
And I was nearly stoned and martyred for saying they finished 11th. But my faith in Corberán was very, very high, and I also thought that the squad was underperforming. They had and have a clutch of very good footballers. Most of them have been on the ball too infrequently tonight to prove that.
Strong run there from Ferran. It was cut out. Here is Danjuma.
Ferran pretty ticked off for his Swedish teammate for getting in the way, I think, there.
It's Pedri. Rashford. Casado. This places the pass. And he will be.
Should Rashford have been on the move there? It's a Casado mistake, because Rashford wasn't on the move, so don't put the ball into the area where you suppose he should be. In terms of the way that we're all used to how Barcelona move, Rashford should have been on the move there. Still Casado's error.
Pedri picking up that loose ball. Daji coming in centrally, moving out wide. Barcelona setting up positionally. There is Gerard Martin. Back out with Gerard Martin. Saw the run of Fermin from deep. That's what he does so well. Fermin, here is Marcus Rashford. Pushes Fermin out wide.
Yeah, Fermin was exactly the way that Rashford should have been a few minutes ago. Fermin was on his haunches in a sprinter's pose, and he wanted, as soon as the ball hit Rashford, he wanted it to be released to him. And eventually the ball was held on too long by the Englishman, sent too wide. Shall we welcome that man back? We've shown a shot of Marc Bernal.
Welcome back. Started the season so well last year.
Yeah.
So they've done it again. They found another midfielder, Barcelona.
Well, yeah, he was the guy who was going to be keeping Casado out of the team altogether.
Well, I say found, cultivated and nurtured and developed.
in the bargain basement in Wolves.
Yes.
That used to be a shot.
Chance there for Aguirre to play a pass in behind the back line, but there was no runners from Valencia, and under pressure, and now goes back. Here is Danjuma to Copete.
They were talking about Bernal and Casado coming through. It was at the same time as Fermin came through. Other products of the youth system would include Eric Garcia and Lamine. We could go on, but even with a clutch of youngsters having been on the bench or in the first team this season, Barcelona's youth sides have sequentially last year won the youth version of the Champions League, the UEFA Youth League. They were finalists in the World Club Cup in the Maracanã against Flamengo, and late last week, by beating Racing Avellaneda, they became Intercontinental Cup champions too. It's not something in the water. And La Masia as an institution has been full of tumult, lots of changes of personnel and arguments, and yet, in a metronome fashion,
It's a beautiful touch from Ferran and Pedredin. Oh, what a finish that is! Sensational goal from Barcelona, taken absolutely beautifully by Fermin, set up magnificently by Ferran, and there is the breakthrough.
And as if by magic, it's one of the Canteranos. It's an Andalus-born man, but somebody that was tutored in the youth system in La Masia. Somebody whose last few months have been controversial. I made it quite clear on social media that he was met with somebody in the dressing room. It's emerged that he and Gary have fallen out. No doubt that will be healed. And this half touch, that half touch, it's a phrase I hadn't heard before. I heard Barcelona coaches using it. Maybe I'm behind the times. But 12, 15 years ago, the concept of half touch was the key thing. Ferran Torres produces that. And it deadens the ball, it beats the defence, it deadens the ball such that there's an opportunity. But, Phil, your commentary was perfect. That's an exceptional finish. The way that he opens his body out, uses precision rather than power to finish. For me, to the rescue.
It is a lovely finish from a player who, as they say in Spanish, he's got goal. And he does. Someone who consistently pops up in those kind of positions, running from deep into the box. That was a striker's finish.
Don't make a mistake. These Valencia players who played in the 7-1 last season would be dreaming of him because he had a hell of a day that day too. Not too much couple.
Let's see if there's any kind of response here from Valencia. That immediately won a corner. They lost 7-1 in the league here last season. Here. Against Barcelona. And they were also beaten by 5 goals in the cup as well.
The thing about them was that they bounced back from both of those defeats with victories. Can they bounce back with a goal right now?
Here is Dan Juma with the corner. And away, Gerard Martin. Dan Juma might get another chance, but Fermin is back. Here's Dan Juma. Driven in, and Diego Lopez couldn't take the ball in his stride. And it's another corner for Valencia.
Another moment in extremis from Eric Garcia. And when footballers aren't on the ball an awful lot, particularly applies to goalkeepers, and you have periods where not a lot's happening, to then be super sharp is something you commend, and Eric Garcia was. Very, very zonal system from Barcelona. Some man marking, but mostly zonal.
Away once again by Gerard Martin, out to Guerra. It almost fell for Hugo Duro.
How frustrating that one of the silkiest, most technically gifted players on the Valencia side needed 3 touches before he sent it out wide again.
That small flurry of pressure from Valencia comes to an end. Barcelona, last season, after 3 games, were top of the table with 9 points from a possible 9. They won their opening 3 matches, each one of them by the same scoreline, 2-1, including a 2-1 victory against Valencia. And then on match day 4, they beat Valladolid by 7 goals, and that's when the goal scoring really started to take place for Barca. Here is Gerard Martin. Ferran will get stuck under his feet. It's with Casado. The squad which scored 102 goals in all competitions last season. Firepower is unquestionable. Fermin, he will chase that. Juma wins the foul.
Would you agree with the proposition you were giving their stats there that, you know, unless you're very, very anti-Barcelona, then for most neutrals, they were just a good watch last season. were fun in the Champions League. The two ties that I mentioned, danger games in the semi-final, the Copa del Rey Clasico, which could have gone either way. It could easily have been a Real Madrid win, and I think there's 7 minutes left before Lamine finds Ferran Torres. It looks like Madrid are going to win that. Classic match, an absolute buster of a match. The game against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Week after week, Flick's Champions elect gave us such entertainment.
Really did. This season hasn't quite started in the same fashion, but they're playing well tonight. Here is Ferran. Covering there from Copete.
Yeah, he may well grimace because he put the ball in an area where he could be robbed, and he was then neither strong enough or quick enough to get there, with Rashford waiting, begging for the centre-forward chance that Ferran could not produce against his ex-team.
Up comes Pau Kubasi, who has never scored a league goal for Barcelona. Eric challenging Aguirre Zabala. Eric Garcia chipped in with some important goals towards the end of last season in the league and the Champions League.
Some of which were with his prodigious leap. He's got a Tim Cahill style leap. He's not a particularly tall defender.
No, he's not.
But both the timing of his runs to a header, but also his outright leap, are above and beyond what you could expect. And I think that's one of the things that make him so valuable.
Here's Santa Maria, 2 on this side for Valencia. One of them is Gaya, but he's not getting at the end of that.
Highest up the pitch that Valencia's captain has been in open play. And they're sacrificing a lot because Rooney Bargi has not had an impact of any kind. Fine. Gaya has been told to play as a full-back and mark him out of the game, but Gaya adds so much that I think it's a Pyrrhic victory for Valencia and one that Corberan may review.
He is one of the full-backs with the biggest influence on his side's attacking play in La Liga.
And it's old-fashioned and it doesn't fit with the football intelligence you've been quoting, but he's a warrior. He's an outright warrior. The Alicante-born youth product, praising Barcelona's system. Paterna, the training ground where the youth system is built for Valencia, saved them, kept them up in recent seasons when there wasn't money for big transfers, when the owners of the club were moving big players out quite promptly. The youth system at Valencia saved them, and there are several products on the pitch tonight that are part of that.
It's Pedri.
Best player in the pitch so far, by far.
Rashford, who started brightly, but didn't see too much from him.
He's done a few things in terms of timing and movements that aren't quite right, but I've sympathy for him. But when he's at his best is when his team is playing counter-attack and the space to run in behind. And this is a little bit like the Levante game where he was taken off at half-time, where Levante played really deep, but mauled Barcelona, were 2-0 up, could easily have been 3-0 up, should have won the game, I would argue. Which is why I'm saying this is the best Barcelona performance of the season so far.
Pedri out to Rashford, finds him with the pass. He's got Fulquier for company.
Fulquier had him for breakfast there.
Santa Maria finds Maduro.
Such a bad goal. Such a bad mistake.
Here is Marcus Rashford looking to punish Valencia. Rashford takes it to the byline. Allows Tárrega to make that challenge.
They haven't done that often, Corberan's side, but I say again, without fear of being repetitious, that's the error that cost Valencia 12 goals against the Blaugrana last season. When you give the ball away sloppily, but then your system is undressed, where you are dishevelled, and Barcelona can punch holes in you. Santa Maria needs not to do that again.
In by Rashford, putting it at the near post.
Valencia's body language, Phil. a little bit heavy-legged, sloped shoulders. They feel they're under pressure and they're not enjoying themselves. It's not a good sign.
They have been under pressure the entirety of this game so far. Pedri. Fermin with the ball in. Castello with a strike.
Nice, nice. Castello strikes it well. He's capable of scoring from that range, he's proven to us. He ignores his young Swedish colleague. If that was Lamine, that ball goes to Lamine, without question. And the first thing that Castello does is turn to his right and say, yeah, no, sorry, fair play. You probably should have got that.
Take it to Pedri. Rashford. To Fermin. Valencia can't clear their lines. It's in towards Eric Garcia, who can't get on the end of that.
So the crowd applauds and they're pretty happy. I think that Flick, you were talking about being angry when discussing the amount of minutes that Lamine had. He's had a case of distemper all season. As we look at a handful of the youth team, some of whom used to share this pitch with Lamine Yamal, and all of whom are now 60 stages in their career, because his recent months have been so explosive. Flick hasn't been particularly happy with the way in which Barcelona have needed to try and see if they can move certain big players out during the market. He will be thrilled, and he will expect a change in gear and concentration from players now that the market is finally shut. And briefly, for those who don't know what I mean, financial fair play means that Barcelona cannot spend one for one the money that comes into the club. They're not allowed to, because La Liga is protecting the club's financial situation with financial fair play, and it just means that dealing and keeping players focused is harder.
Ferran was brought down there. First yellow card of the game for Muqtada Kabi.
Merited.
No arguments from him, really.
Yeah. One of the things that Corberan spoke to our reporter about during the build-up to the match was that he said Diakabi can either bring the ball out into midfield or situate him in midfield, and we can alternate between 5 and 4. There's been no sign of that so far.
Absolutely no. Castello. Rudy Badaji in his first minutes for Barcelona hasn't looked out of place. Hasn't been a question of it being a step too far. He's slotted in. This exciting teenager who's calling for the ball now from Eric. He might get it from Ferran. Ferran might shoot. But again, he's a little bit frustrated, Rudy Badaji, because he didn't get that ball.
Sharks don't apologise. Castello immediately went, yeah mate, fair enough, I probably should have fed you. Ferran's like, I'm Ferran Torres. I can shoot when I want. This touch though, that half touch, that's absolutely lovely. Diakabi is completely left out in the cold. But again, going back to your Ballon d'Or commentary style, the really special bit was finding your way past an agile goalkeeper like Akiri Zabala from that angle with that power and that precision. Really, really good play by the Andalus.
Pedri giving the ball away.
First mistake.
Here's Dan Schumer. Under pressure, going back to Aguirre Zabala, who's saw the stats on your screen. Valencia have not had a shot in this game so far.
And I think that the way in which that potentially interesting open from Danjuma was forced back so quickly wasn't necessarily because of a monster press from Barcelona. The Valencia players looked around, half-time coming, mustn't give the ball away. Not too many options, not too many players in white showing for the ball, either close or in channels, and therefore recycled. And that says something about either the approach Corberán has asked them for, or the way in which their confidence isn't high. They don't look like a team that really believes right now, in my opinion. But with a simple one-goal margin, that can easily change. You get the feeling that that young Swede has run his race because of this, and I think it may prove that he's served his penitence. And Gerard Martin does not look comfortable at all.
To the final minute of the opening 45. Frustration from Valencia, from their players and fans. Their side being dominated here by Barcelona. Yet the scoreline remains just 1-0. Barcelona travelling to Newcastle for their first game in the Champions League Thursday evening. Without doubt, that game conditioning potentially the starting 11 tonight. We'll see whether or not we see Rafinha immediately from the off in the second half.
He makes the meetings on time, he will.
I did have a serious look about him as he was training there, warming up. Ball given away by Eric Garcia. Here's Hugo Duro looking for Diego Lopez. It was a good opening, but it was difficult for him to find Diego Lopez.
Well situated, right?
Absolutely. Pedri with a pass into space to find Pedri. There's no one on the left flank. Comes back inside. We're into stoppage time at the end of this first half. There will not be much, but there will be a little bit more because Santa Maria is down. And that's why. Yeah, the card going to be shown to the someone on the Valencia bench. One of Carlos Corberán's technical staff getting a yellow card.
The technical staff players, they all wear the same expression.
Half-time, the Estadio Johan Cruyff, Barcelona leading thanks to Fermin's fantastically taken goal, beautifully set up by Ferran Torres. Barcelona, much the better side. We'll see if Valencia can improve in the second half or not. At the break, it's Barcelona 1, Valencia 0.
To overcome any difficulty, you must work hand in hand as a team to overcome challenges with talent and determination. Because together, we are stronger. To win. BKT in La Liga, a winning team.
come much more fiercely contested than this.
One of the fiercest rivalries.
Huge clash. Can you feel it? The shake.
Broadcast proudly brought to you by MTN, Go Make a Difference, and Guinness, the official beer of the Premier League.
All it takes is her to be a hero at the Women's Rugby World Cup.
DSTV means choosing.
Ready?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Now you can choose amazing. Amazing acting, reacting, and overreacting.
Living for this drama.
Front row at the gaming and super fanning while on the going. Winning! Locally, all around the worlding. Wowing! Binging and blockbustering.
You're green.
I am.
While others are white ricing, you're John laughing. Because life can be exciting, enticing, surprising, wow, inspiring,
fantastic,
and everything in between.
That's great to hear.
With something for everyone, anything's possible.
Literally.
When you're DSTV.
From the heartbeat of Lagos to stages across the globe, the rhythm of Afrobeats is unstoppable. Indeed, Afrobeats isn't just a genre, it's a global movement. Our Nigerian talents have taken the world by storm, and the good news is
born relatively locally. It was a club that mattered a great deal to him. Came through at a similar time to Carlos Soler, who's come back to Spanish football in this market to play at La Real. And Ferran Torres last season was he not the archetype of how to handle not being first choice? Stayed fit, stayed sharp, stayed perpetually in a good humour, and contributed with goals and assists almost every time he came on, and as such has kept his Spain place.
And perhaps morphed a little bit into a slightly different player. We didn't think
that did change, you're right.
He was necessarily a central forward when he started playing, although he had been used a little bit there during his Manchester City days.
So you would say he sculpted his movement and his positional sense in order to be more useful to the coach and, in theory, get more games?
There wasn't a backup to Robert Lewandowski really in the squad when he became it. And now, here he is starting ahead of the Polish striker. Again, for the fourth time this season. Here is Marcus Rashford battling with Diakabi, getting the better of him. Can he keep it in? No, he can't.
Can you know that the crowd want him to thrive? I'll point out again that although he scored on tour and did well, impressed the coach in South Korea in the pre-season tour, it was here against Cesc Fabregas's Como when he produced his absolutely best football, and he looked a sharper and more useful addition then, admittedly in a friendly, than he has in competitive football so far.
I thought that he might be used through the middle,
yes,
back up to
I agree.
Robert Lewandowski. Perhaps hasn't been the case so far. Here is Petri, floating that ball to Rashford, who'll get there. That's a great cross. Oh, and a chance here for Ferran. Somehow, he doesn't have his goal.
Again, so much to say. Pedri's pass is wonderful, and one of the things that I know that Manchester United coaches were frustrated with this man is that he didn't do enough work on his left foot, and yet that ball is pretty adequate. He's very right-footed. He consistently refused opportunities just to brush up on his weaker foot. Yet the ball in is really good, and France now had two absolutely must-score chances. What part did that again in the Balotelli and that with the speed of closing the striker down? Was it a factor?
A factor?
Should have scored.
Serious. Two really good opportunities for Ferran Torres.
Football teaches you as well, when you miss chances like that, often the rival will punish you.
Let's record.
Here, looking for Diego Lopez. Here is Fermin, just a bustling all-action player. Koundé.
You made them somewhere. You understand? It was small.
Nicely done from Rashford, gets it back. Still Rashford.
I judge us to have seen in the last nearly 5 minutes something that Flick has asked Pedri to do. He's dropped a lot deeper into quarterback passing role. He's opened things up a couple of times, whereas previously we were expecting to see him in the number 10 role, maybe 15 metres outside the penalty box, playing shorter diagonal passes into the penalty box in space. But because he's dropped back, Valencia haven't gone with him. The tightness of space that's surrounded Pedri in that middle advanced area has given him now more room. It won't be a permanent thing, but I suspect we've seen enough of it to know that Flick has said to him, drop deep and release the ball a little bit more time to pass.
Chance here for Valencia. Maybe that wasn't the right pass there from Gaia. Looking for Danjuma. It all came from a wild clearance from Kubasi. Danjuma being given another shot at life in La Liga. Played for Real, Girona, here with Valencia was Real's record signing until this summer.
A little bit accident prone. I know for a fact that schism between him and some senior players Valencia, that clapping stopped him having a prodigious time there. Michel Pochettino was perpetually very frustrated about his choices for the pitch. He felt he was a selfish footballer. And this time, Corberan has spoken about it with such enthusiasm. He's really, not just with the striker, he's really believed in, really backed him. And the goal which he scored just before the international break was a pledge. And when he played in the Premier League too, he has shown why he became a Dutch international.
Premier League boom, they will know. They will say why when they talk Spanish for Premier League.
Here is Pedri in a little bit deeper, as you said, Graham.
Why they do Premier League boom for this kind of sense we use for them.
Rafinha. Seeing Rafinha on the right. Did play there previously.
I mean, he's ambidextrous, there's no question. Not as much as Ousmane Dembele, for example, but he is without question equally able to use right foot, left foot.
Where is Rafinha? Have a great turn.
It's like a trademark. You should carry a placard. I can do all the difficult things well, and then hit the goalkeeper in his body when having opened up space. 3 really big chances now. Nice movement. I think that refers back to what you said about how he's developed himself.
See, that kind of movement in the box, that wasn't something I would have associated with Ferran.
He needed to be on the run, didn't he? Yeah. That was outright number 9.
Yeah, totally. Here he is again. Rashford. In from Rashford, dangerous looking ball, and it's ended up in the back of the net. Rafinha arriving. An assist for Marcus Rashford, a goal for Rafinha, and Barcelona double their lead.
Until we get Rashford or Flip talking about this, it's going to be a matter of opinion rather than fact. I think that was fully meant, and I think it was gorgeous from Rashford. Even if he's simply, I'm going to put it in an area, and it isn't absolutely clear if Rafinha's going to get there. Let's see if I'm proven wrong as a replay, but I don't think so. I think he takes a lovely, that is gorgeous. That is absolutely gorgeous. What that would mean, we wouldn't have any doubt. And although it's a horrible, horrible leave from the new centre half, don't leave Rafinha.
Marcus Rashford absolutely meant that. You could see him look up, spot the run of Rafinha, plays it in. It's not the cleanest connection from Rafinha, but they all count.
But and at least he sends it the other way. He puts it across the goalkeeper, who's, again, the balance, put full body in case it's the slightest of touches. So, intended or not, the Brazilian makes it impossible for the Basque to touch it. And this changes the complexion of the game more than just 1 + 1 is 2. Suddenly Barcelona tails up, and Valencia know they need to open up and take risks.
Here is Rashford. Here bringing the ball out. Aguirre will get there.
Done.
And keep it in as well. That was a fault off the ball.
Here we learn. I mean, we learn heaps about the squad and about Corberan.
Yeah, this is it.
Last season. Particularly their ability to shrug off adverse circumstances and then play with purpose and identity. But now, if they stick with 3 centre-halves and 5 at the back, not 3 + 2 advancing, you would draw the conclusion that Corberan and the club are going, well, not another 5, not another 7. I think that's no good. This is not an impenetrable football Barcelona side.
Here is Fermin with the shots! Wow! A real thunderbolt from Fermin Lopez, and Barcelona are flying now.
I'm going to ask your permission to. Can we call it topical? Is it true? Are you allowing that one?
Absolutely.
because it's true. But there's nothing weak about that. Just thunderbolt, also beautifully positioned. I'll take back what I'm saying. 15. Unless your pressure in midfield is better than. Look at the space. I mean, yeah, I wonder if that should be me. Total utter confidence from a guy who, again, as the market was closed, had to make it clear to his paymasters, I'm not leaving. Turned down opportunities to leave. It's only right that there are doors for him around the elite of European football at Barcelona. We're now going to have to sell him. There's 2 goals tonight. Absolutely sensational. I said the psychology is the complex of the game, the composure of the game, but that's the 3 points, I think, now.
Certainly does feel that way, given what we've seen so far in this game. Valencia haven't managed a shot. There's only 6,000 inside the Estadio Johan Cruyff, but they're enjoying themselves and making themselves heard. This flurry of goals at the start of this second half have put Barcelona in complete control. Can Valencia claw one back and create some hope? It feels very, very unlikely at the moment. A brace from Fermín López. And a goal from Rafinha. Laji Ramazani is on for his Valencia debut, replacing Arnaud Danjuma. Difficult circumstances for Ramazani. Come on, see what he can do. Fermín, as we said, is a player who chips in with goals. 6 last season in La Liga EA Sports, 8 the season before that.
Olympic gold medalist. 20. I want to argue that we've not done my research for something. European champion. I think he was in that European Championship squad. Again under De La Fuente, a year after the Olympics victory. Gold medal in Paris against Thierry Henry's side, starring, or sometimes starring, Désiré Doué.
Another change for Valencia. 3 changes. Grinic coming on to replace Javi Guerra, and also Luis Rioja for Diego Lopez. Too little, too late, Graham?
In every way, in terms of deployment of resources, in terms of attitude about how to punish Barcelona. The man who's on the ball there, Gerard Martin, is, if not a weak link, he is a link you want to rattle a lot to see what you get back. They haven't done that. And if we're talking about Javi Guerra for 30, 35 minutes was working double time to make sure that Barcelona's midfield didn't have things easy. But when that goal comes, the one that finishes any possibility of a first win in the year in this city for Valencia against Barcelona since 2014, Javi Guerra sound asleep.
There is Ramazani. It's a good covering from Eric Garcia. Belgian born Belgian international Laji Ramazani. If you hear him speak English, sounds like he's from South London.
He's another Yunus Musa in that case.
Yes.
Whose son's geezer-ish, but brought up partly in Italy and plays for the United States.
Laji Ramazani spending time in the Charlton Youth Academy at Manchester United. So with Almeria as well in La Liga EA Sports. And here he is for Valencia. Feels like Marcus Rashford might get a full 90 here. Maybe we might see Lewandowski come on and Ferran shifted out wide. And we're seeing Ferran Torres becoming more and more this focal point of the Barcelona attack in terms of being able to hold balls up, win fouls, drop deep. It's, again, really not something that we associated with his game, even at the start of last season.
I think you made a good point about how he's deliberately trying to reshape himself.
Ball looking for Marcus Rashford and finding him as well. He's in the box, as is Ferran Torres, but he looked
very good.
Well, the offside flag is up.
But even in the mentality of Diakabi and what do you do, what's going to happen next, where must I be, irrespective of the fact that the flag will go up, players aren't always wholly conscious of it. It's a clearly correct decision, I think, now at this stage. Well, you doubt it, but at any rate, I think if Diakabi's done his research well, he knows that Rashford won't finish off his left foot, because he isn't two-footed like Firmino or Rafinha, for example, and he thinks that sprint's going to be it. And I'm analysing it in action, that I can see you rolling your eyes, that wasn't going to count anyway, but I like what Diakabi did, and that kind of spirit Valencia could do right throughout the team, I think, at the moment, and maybe in the dugout too.
For the record, that absolutely wasn't rolling eyes. Here is Santa Maria.
He's going to get away with that.
He's clashed with Pedri. His arm was flailing. Catches Pedri.
You called it correctly the hymno. We would internationally in English call it the anthem. It's one of the more famous football anthems across the globe, belted out. There's only just over 6,000 people there. It's been a good venue, irrespective of the scoreline. It's compact and bijou. If you were a London estate agent, you'd be selling it for 7 million. It's a lovely little stadium, the Johan Cruyff.
Here is Fermin Lopez, who is enjoying playing here tonight. Rashford battling, still going, clashing a bit there with Fulquier.
It's the kind of stuff that the fans remember. It just helps you in rough patches. The fans will give you more patience, more support, that just little bit of garra. I guess Marcus from Livingshaw doesn't call it garra. That snarl, that fight, that bite counts.
We are about to see Thierry Correa come on for Valencia, making his return from a long injury. He comes on to replace Diakabi. So presumably we'll see Fulquier shift to centre-back, Correa at right-back.
You kind of hope that that's the signal that 3-0 down with less than half an hour remaining, it's no longer 3 at the back. I'd like to hope. If it is, abandon all hope. We're interested. For those, there can be many who follow Spanish football who are unused to the Portuguese fullbacks play. He's very talented and very quick. It's impossible to expect 100% performance from him at this stage of his comeback, but he, in terms of class, in terms of being able to be on the turn and make recuperating tackles, but also what he does in an attacking sense, he's a very important footballer for this club. Look at the press until now, until this minute, half-hearted. That won't do. Look, and with no press, Barca make a mistake. What could Valencia have achieved if the press was relentless, if the sense of we can do this, we can rattle them had been higher? Who knows?
We haven't seen any of that.
Really, almost none, eh? Almost. And a little bit of stoicism, quite a lot of stoicism in defence for most of the first half. And after that, well, our goose is cooked. It's really, from a neutral point of view, it's dispiriting to watch. And if we're honest, Neither Mallorca, nor Levante, nor Rayo played anything like this.
And there's Rafinha, and there's the fourth. The Brazilian smashing home. A terrific finish on what is turning out to be a terrific night for Barcelona.
There shouldn't be a goal there, should there? They're just... Are we going back to Bruce Banner? Don't make him angry.
Somebody made him angry.
That was ferocious. But, Anna, listen, let's go to the joy part first. For Barca fans or neutrals, that's a hell of a piece of work. But irrespective of Copetti saying to our referee tonight, and I was bullied, that was pushed around, Guillermo Cuadra Fernandez, I don't think he's asking for this to be reviewed. But when the ball comes in there, they bump into each other. It's as simple as that. Rafinha wants it more. Copetti and Gaia are not talking. Thanks to that brilliant angle, we can see there's no dialogue. The captain isn't saying to the newbie, my ball, or Jose's, or déjame libre, leave me in space, I'll manage. And Rafinha's like, all right, he's jumped off, so you want to bump into each other, I'll run off with the swag. Nice ovation for the Englishman, Phil.
Off goes Marcus Rashford, and then comes Dani Olmo.
Right now, just remind me, what were the scores last season when Valencia visited the Blaugrana?
7-1 in the league, 5-0 in the Copa del Rey.
Time.
We're edging towards.
Irrespective of what clearly has either been the coaches or the players' idea about, like, we'll be staunch. We'll have an unbreachable line of 9 behind the ball. It hasn't. It's been. If Corban says that is not what I coached all week, that is not what I asked my players to do, then it's going to look for Los Che's loyal fans like they've been badly let down by these men in white. In fact, I bet they wish they had Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones and men in black.
Is Lewandowski, first touch.
No fault referee. Lightest of fouls.
We don't often see Dani Olmo and Fermin together. So Fermin is shifting out to the left where Rashford was, and Olmo potentially where Fermin was. Let's see. This, not the first time, by the way, that Valencia played a league game at Barcelona's training complex. In 1987, which was Valencia's one and only season in Segunda. More on that in a second. Here's Rafinha for the hat-trick. Oh, that was a chance, a really good chance as well. Going back to 1987. Barca's B team were also in the second division, and they played a game at the Mini Estadi, not in this particular stadium.
No, in fact the Mini Estadi wasn't really... It was located right next to the Camp Nou, and it was part of our training complex in that just above it there were a number of rudimentary pitches on which Leo Messi made his first kicks of the ball in front of Charlie Rexach. But it was much more rudimentary, and the Mini Stadium was a place of absolute beauty, and it was there that Johan Cruyff, for example, first saw Pep Guardiola playing. The whole thing is now knocked to the ground, flattened as part of the Camp Nou renovation. But I remember, anecdotally, while the game's a little quiet, 1996, the Under-21 Final Four, European Under-21 Final Four, Germany, France, Scotland and Spain, and the Scots were allowed to train at the Mini Stadium in Barcelona for a tournament to place in Montjuic, and every one of them said they'd never ever been on a better playing surface in their lives. They said, this is Barca's B stadium.
Chance here for Rioja. Got into the penalty area and managed Valencia's first shot of the game. There is Dani Olmo. run there from Dani Olmo, who continues getting forward, as does Robert Lewandowski in support of Rafinha. Lewandowski left it there for Olmo.
In fairness, Rafinha pointed to exactly where he did eventually pass the ball.
Couldn't find the pass into space for Ramazani, and that's where Ramazani can be dangerous. Valencia playing on despite Gerard Martin down.
That expression on his face, and when Santa Maria was down, it was actually Gerard Martin who was the first to say to his teammates, we have to play the ball out. So he might be ticked off, but what he was saying to, I didn't spot who was his teammate helping him with the cramp that he was greatly suffering. He shrugged him off and said, you know, Raiders in behind, fire in the hole.
It is damage limitation now for Valencia, although you feel that the damage has already been done. Here is Olmo. Still Dani Olmo, allowed to dribble and dribble.
But what was his mentality there, Phil? The informed Dani Olmo there, trying to pass. Isn't trying to dribble past people. That's not his game. There's a tapeworm in his head going, I have to score to vindicate myself. I haven't been playing well. I have to do something magical. I don't think that's what helps you out of a slump.
Possession stats very similar to the first half. Absolutely dominating Barcelona. Seen a really timid version of Valencia this evening. There is Fulquier. So winning it back and coming forward once again. Through Fermin. Keeps it on. 3 Barcelona players in the box waiting for it. Here's Fermin. Still Fermin. And it'll fall to Rafinha.
Good block. Very, very good block.
And here's Koundé to Rafinha in so much space. Too much space. It took too long to get the shot away. And that should have been a 5th. Catastrophic defending from Valencia. Barcelona really should have added to their lead there.
The only exception there, I think it was Gaia who gets in the way. When this ball comes out, right there at full stretch, you're right. Barcelona queuing up to score, and that's a smart move. Partly because of the cramp he was beating, and something that can be a fortiche to the hamstring pull. Looked wobbly, and he made a big header in the first half. With this game won, Flick is showing, without breaking over coals, exactly what he was arguing he wished De La Fuente had done. I mean, if the game's in the bag, remove anybody who you're not quite sure of their fitness, whether they're got a little niggle and you might want to protect them. So
off goes Gerard Martin, and on comes Jofre Torrents.
Never really have heard this 1,000 times, because it seems that every Barca kid, whether it's Rooney Bargi they bought, or it's Bernal or Casado or Lamine or on and people say, well, great things. Virtually, he's going to New York as well, another exceptional footballer. Joe Fernandez, Gigi, Tony Fernandez. But this guy Torrents is tipped to quickly be vaulting over Gerard Martin and pushing Balde for the first team place. They're that excited about the fella who's just come up for Gerard Martin.
Watch out then, the 18-year-old. His second appearance of the season. Space here for Jules Koundé. Barca aren't done. They're looking for more goals. Here's Olmo. And Lewandowski! Superb finish from Robert Lewandowski. That's what he does. Dani Olmo with the pass, Lewandowski with the finish. Barca have 5.
it goes from end to end in about 13.5 seconds. When the left back starts to move with his right foot, it causes huge explosive applause because he picks out Koundé. Now this is when Danny Olmo doesn't do what I was criticising for before. The dribble, the special thing for me, he does the right thing. Typically Phil Lewandowski-esque things. But when you play end to end like that, it's a mark of confidence, it's a mark of technical ability, and it's a mark that the Valencia players have thrown in the towel. The amount of space everywhere. You press not because of team orders in this situation. You press, you tackle for personal pride. And that's not good enough. But when has anybody ever complained when the hot light goes through butter? They don't blame the button in that move. The first half wasn't embarrassing. Valencia fans, I think, will back the idea that this is becoming embarrassing.
There is a change for Valencia. Lucas Beltran coming on to replace Hugo Duro. It is another terrible night for Valencia in the city of Barcelona. Remember, they lost here 7-1 last year in the league, 5-0 in the Copa del Rey. They've shipped another 5 tonight.
But you pointed out as well that their road record needs to improve drastically, and this is another self-inflicted wound. And it bears, okay, there's been the international break, but it bears no relationship to the way in which they got after Getafe in the last game in front of nearly 46,000 fans at Mestalla, and played with that typical Corberan, Los Che, Valencia aggression and competence against a side that's generally difficult to break down. And there's nothing to compare in character or personality or running or pressing or again, I use that word, garra, the aggression, sporting aggression. Where's that gone?
Here is Jofre Torrens. Fermin. Here's Pedri looking to get in on the action. Jules Koundé was wide open. Can't begrudge Pedri taking a shot on from there.
He's been taught by every coach recently, you must score this.
Yes.
And he did for Spain a wonderful right-footed shot into the far left corner. Pretty sure in Konya against Turkey rather than against Bulgaria. That's my verdict, I'm sticking with it. But several coaches have said, right, your pending assignment is more goals, more assists, and he has begun to shoot off left and right foot from distance. Another example would be the wonder goal he scored against Madrid in the Classico Cup final down at La Cartuja. Gradually it's coming. That one just was a valedictory round of applause. It was well off target, but he's asked to do that.
Lovely goal against Levante on match day 2 as well from Pedri as they come forward. Valencia with Ramazani. Collected by Joan Garcia, no one attacking the cross from the Belgian. Number 15, Lucas Beltran, who's come on. Summer signing on loan from Fiorentina in his first minutes as a Valencia player. Yet another Argentine signed by Valencia, who have a long history of signing players from Argentina.
Hence the informal nickname, Los Che.
Beltran becoming the 36th Argentine to sign for Valencia, more than any other country, and some really big names in that list.
Surely. Mix of a hostage to fortune. The two biggest would be Di Stefano as a coach, who won them the league. Although not everybody's going to remember him, and they're going to say the footballers. Mario Kempes.
Mario Kempes, without doubt. Here is Olmo. Couldn't keep that down. It's Mario Kempes, the legendary figure in Valencia.
The modern one would be Aymar.
Oh no, Aymar as well.
20 years ago. For a gorgeous football. Now, and to you, Phil.
As we listen to the reception for the return of Marc Bernal.
You explained well that during the inaugural pre-season tour under Flick, that was when, although a lot of the senior players were absent because of the European Championships and the fact that Barcelona had won it, Bernal was identified as the closest replica that the club could produce to Sergio Busquets.
Rafinha chases this ball over the top.
Now against Monaco in the Gamper tournament, which that season they were organised enough to play in a full stadium, that season's come now. They profited from his errors, and Flick was like, "Don't worry about this kid. This is going to be fine." Bernal was identified as somebody who was going to be a special footballer for the system of Barcelona, how they like to play, what they like the pivot to do. In the end, that became Casado. Bernal's knee ligament injury was a horrendous one. It's well over a year since he's played football. A long road back. He's been medically fit for nearly a month, but they've taken it so carefully and slowly because they value his well-being.
Started the first 3 games of last season, Marc Bernal. As you said, it was a really, really bad injury. Matchday 3 last season. They will ease him back into competitive action. Ball looking for the run of Ramazani. Correa with the pass. Correa had gotten through. Ramazani was through the middle.
Ramazani maybe needs to be a little bit more daring, a little braver, I think. Tiny example of what the Portuguese flying full-back midfielder can produce.
Well, Hansi Flick, in that first game against Mallorca, which Barcelona won comfortably with Mallorca, down to 9 men. They won 3-0 in the end, but Hansi Flick wasn't happy, and he wasn't happy with how his side dropped the intensity.
They went on holiday. They literally did. It was. I thought it was for reigning champions. I thought it was pretty embarrassing.
Which is perhaps one of the reasons why we've seen them keep going and going and going today.
And I think 100% agreement. And it was also their trademark last season. They always had a sucker punch up their sleeves in difficult circumstances, not just when they were winning. And you don't display that habit unless you play it with this intensity in the closing stages of matches all the time.
Well, last season they won this fixture 7-1. It wasn't the only time they scored 7 goals. They scored 7 against Valladolid as well. They didn't score 6 goals in any games, but they scored 5 goals in 9 different matches in all competitions, Barcelona, last season.
Good, isn't it?
Pretty good, yeah.
But you painted a picture, a bit of embarrassment about the lack of Camp Nou. Real Madrid soaring away unbeaten at the top of the league. The Champions League just round the corner at St James's, where people couldn't lose if they're not fully on it. An unconvincing start to the season, and yet they've come out and put on a right good performance. It was good while it was 1-0. It was intense. It was creative, and from that point onwards, it's been outright ruthless.
Here is Olmo. Bernal, and he's found Lewandowski, who finds the back of the net. The offside flag is out.
I think correctly, but where the pole was or wasn't, doesn't strip away from the quality of the pass.
Yeah.
First time ball.
Well, he's not.
Looks on. In fact, it goes back. He just never known. But that, I go back to the point that people were trying to educate us from inside the club, saying that Bernal, first time left foot pass, where he just deadens it into the path of the pole. He may never ever reach Busquets' level. Very few will, but that's the type of pass Busquets was capable of. Totally aware, where's the space, and just no movement, just dead foot on the instep of his left foot into Lewandowski's path. That's the type of thing, whether his goal stands or not, that Flick expects to see from that man, that young man.
And it is a goal for Barca. They have 6. Lewandowski's got his second. There is still time for them to repeat last year's 7th heaven result.
Such a good human story. There's been so much care given to him in coming back, so much affection shown to him, not just sympathy, by everybody in the stadium. Just about the first thing he does. This was a lovely assist into the path of Lewandowski. He finishes with real applause and a couple of apples. And it's 6.
And this is turning into just about the most perfect night possible for Barcelona.
Don't leave me to being alone as the Scrooge. Next opponents are Newcastle, whose scouts will be in the stadium, and Eddie Howe and his staff will be watching this repeatedly. Newcastle will have seen weaknesses, yes?
Yes.
I have no question about that. I'm glad you agree. Or at least places where they will probe completely differently to Valencia.
Valencia fans, the ones you can hear there, and they're asking for their team to play with a bit of guts.
Is that the literal translation?
It's not. Here is Rafinha.
Sorry for the mischief.
Fermin with a back heel finds Torrens, who pulls it back. Just a bit of respite for Valencia in this second half as we see this Lewandowski onside goal, and it seems pretty clear.
You called it. I mean, I'm known to have a shot at things, but VAR has taught me to try to be more conservative. But you were right, you called it initially. It looked onside. Lewandowski's movement, the timing, very good. His finish, very good. Lovely from Mark Bernal.
Fermin stayed down as Ramazani comes forward. Beltran was calling for it. Let's just see here what Fermin's back on his feet. He'd gone down in a worrying heap, but he's picked himself back up. Didn't want to jinx it for Barcelona by saying it's been a perfect evening, but only an injury now could put a dampener on things.
It's a Sherlock Holmes mystery, and Agatha Christie style. How can you take over a team which is watching, bring them up to very near the European place, and lose 7, 5, minimum 6 in 3 consecutive games for Barcelona, and in the third match not appear to have learned anything. It's just, football is such an odd sport. I'm never taking it on.
Here is Fermin. There is time for a 7th. Although couldn't find Rafinha. Rafinha blocks the clearance. So we tick into stoppage time here. Wonder how much is going to be allowed. Just a couple of minutes. A lenient amount of stoppage time, although there hasn't been too many stoppages in this second half at all. VAR check was very quick as well.
Once on the 50th anniversary, he interviewed Johan Cruyff, and he told me that one of his tricks when he was bossing the player was that if they'd been playing badly in the previous game, he dedicated the first 15 minutes to tricks and showing off, make the crowd happy and entertained and forget the last last game. And therefore, for that and several other reasons, the great man got them down for a while. Pretty happy with this style, not the scoreline as such, but the style, the idea.
Falls to Correa. Here's Fulquier. Grilic. Mistiming his shot. This game will end with Valencia taking a corner. You can hear there saying portería cero, let's keep a clean sheet. Decent looking ball in. There's Rioja. He's got a great shot on him. And we'll have just about enough time to take this final corner of the game. It's in towards Tárrega, then away by Kubarsi, Rafinha chasing and getting there, and that is that. At the Estadi, Johan Cruyff, Barcelona have absolutely dismantled Valencia. A 6-0 thrashing for the champions. A big, big win for the Catalans, another big, big defeat for Valencia away to Barcelona. It's finished. Barcelona 6, Valencia 0.
Some players seem to defy the odds. Microsoft AI analyzes millions of data points, including shot angle, defender positioning, and distance from goal, to reveal the exact probability of La Liga's most epic moments. Understand the magic with Beyond Stats, powered by Microsoft Copilot and La Liga.
Watch La Liga live on Supersport, the world's best football. It's on. This broadcast is proudly brought to you by Sportybet. Play with champions.
DSTV means choosing.
Ready? Oh yeah.
Wow.
Now you can choose amazing. Amazing acting, reacting, and overreacting.
Living for this drama.
Front row at the gaming and super fanning while on the going.
Winning!
Locally, all around the worlding. Wowing. Binging and blockbustering.
You're green.
I am.
While others are white ricing, you're jolloffing. Because life can be exciting, enticing, surprising, wow, inspiring,
fantastic,
and everything in between.
That's great to hear.
With something for everyone, anything's possible.
Literally.
When you're DSTVing. Welcome to the 20th edition of the World Athletics Championships in spectacular Tokyo.
We are in the presence of a sporting giant. That is outstanding. It's a night of pure history. What a season and what an athlete. That was incredible. Does history record again? A true iconic legend of our sport.
Every moment, every medal, only on Supersport.
How much you want for it?
Look at the 3,500 for it.
Do 825.
That sounds great.
FBI, open up!
We need to find these punks before it's too late.
Yeah, 911, what's your emergency?
Pigs on DSTV. 32 ambitious chefs compete to see who has the right ingredients to rule the kitchen.
I want something really, really delicious.
Chefs, off you go.
Stormy seas can compete with the chaos below deck on a luxury yacht.
You need to figure it out or you're both gone.
It's talent, tears, and the occasional golden buzzer as more hopefuls take to the stage in season 20.
You have just set the bar for season 20.
Dr. Emma returns to help desperate patients fix debilitating and unusual skin problems.
Even just the right topical skincare can make a huge impact on the patient's quality of life.
And 16 Niger dance crews shake their tail feathers as they look to be crowned best of the best.
Come on now, can you guys give it up for them? This is Dance Niger Dance 2025.
Stay connected to the unmissable on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
Watch La Liga live on Supersport, the world's best football. It's on. This broadcast is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet. Play with champions.
Well, I make another rock.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Banca Balaidos. It's Celta Vigo against Girona. We've just seen images from both the dressing rooms. It was a little bit more sombre in the Girona dressing room until they all got together for the huddle and the war cry before the game. No surprises really. This week they're about to make their debut in the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain away. And well, the 12 months, a lot's happened, and it's not been great for Girona. They are pointless. They've only scored once, and they've conceded 10 goals. They're up against the Celta Vigo side, who are about to start their own European adventure. They haven't won yet this season. They played 4-3 of those games have ended in a draw, but there is a feel-good factor around Claudio Piranesi's club. I'm delighted to be joined by Gais Kamindi and Gais, two teams who play great football.
Hi Pete, hi everyone. Yes, they do play great football. Unfortunately for them, scoring is not one thing that they find easy. Even if the chances, the numbers are there. Obviously, I think the rush could be divided by 50-50. Celta playing at home. Like you mentioned, the fear of what's happening with a team that is not had big signings. Obviously, rely mostly on the academy. Aspas for me is still the main player. So when you see every season coming, and Aspas still the reference. Well, a question mark about the players that are coming and adding into the club. Let's see how Ferran Jutla adds up. Hugo Sotelo, again, players from the academy adding up, but the question mark is if they are at the level of what they need to do in an exciting season with Europe. In Girona, let's see how they need to get these points. I think everyone, including ourselves, looking at Champions Leagues and how the team did 2 seasons ago, but they need to rebuild from that. The players that they left, they've not been replaced, or not find players at the level that could score goals or play at that maximum level. So I love to look forward to and see how these teams react to this kind of tough start of the season for them.
Well, you mentioned Jutla, and he starts up front. So does Aspas, and as you say, he's still the most important player at the club, 38 years old now. Iago Aspas. Girona were busy on deadline day, bringing in as many reinforcements as they possibly could manage in view of the fact they started the season so badly. Everyone in Catalonia this morning, the local Girona papers all predicted that Livakovic would make his debut and that Banat and Unai wouldn't, and they got it the wrong way around because the goalkeeper's on the bench, and we will see Azzedine Unai, and we're excited about that. This is the guy who you may remember in the last World Cup in Qatar. Luis Enrique, couldn't remember his name, but he was pretty blown away by how good he was playing for Morocco, and you were at that game, guys.
I was at the stadium, and I remember, Luis Enrique saying that number 8, I don't know the name, well, Unai is now at Celta, and I think he's at Girona. I think it's exciting
exciting player, same as Havana, not know much about him, but 15 million seems like a decent price for a striker. I think, like I mentioned before, it's something that Girona, since Sigankov left, they did not find a player that he could have secured those 15-20 goals that would put a team, a club in the top spaces. Not so much like only goals, but also defensively. I think Girona needs to fix that as quick as possible.
Well, let's see how Onay does today on his debut, and likewise Banat. You've just seen the Celta team on your screens. Radu in goal, the back three, Javi Rodriguez, Carlos Dominguez and Manu Fernandez, Carrera and Mingueza, the two wing backs, Hugo Sotelo partners Elijah Moriba, and it's Aspas, Jugla and Pablo Duran up front. This is the Girona team. Gazzaniga starts in goal. Across the back, Arnau, Victor Ice, Blind and Alex Moreno. The midfield three, Unai and Ivan Martin either side of Witsel, we imagine, with Asprilla and Joel Roca either side of Vladislav Banat.
Yeah, Joel Roca with the only goal. These poor, obviously, numbers for Girona that probably feel like they're playing and deserve better than what they're doing. I think that, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, is more the defensive side. A team that they always look to attack, but sometimes you probably have to change that approach to the game and build from the back and be safe first before looking forward to that.
Celta trying to win their first game of the season, trying to pick up their first victory. Girona trying to pick up their first point. We're underway. Girona in change checker yellow, kicking from right to left as we look, and the ball at the feet of Dali Blind, hugely experienced. Dali Blind, big contrast in the ages between Blind and his partner this afternoon, Victor Ace, who's 19, the on-loan City defender, and Dali Blind 35.
Celta pressing already, obviously trying to get, knowing that a team like Girona needs to win, that likes to have the ball, likes to keep passing from the back. Obviously trying to get them nervous and kick the ball and get the second balls. Also playing at home, I think they need to obviously expect it to be a team getting on the up-front foot.
It's Javi Rodriguez, plays it forward to Carrera, quickly infield to Aspas. Good football from Celta Vigo, right from the off. Mingueza, forward to Pablo Duran, he plays it back to Mingueza. And Elijah Moriba plays the ball back out to Pablo Duran. Sotelo to Aspas. Aspas slips that through. It might come, it does come back to Aspas. He gets the shot away, it's blocked and safely into the hands of Gazzaniga. An early chance for Celta.
Yeah, well, as a midfielder, that's what the ball you want to play for, like going forward. And they found Jugla with Thiago Aspas, good action by Celta strikers. See Aspas and Pablo Duran being very close to Jugla. Obviously, I think trying to test both the experience of Blind and the youth of Nunes de Ruiz.
10 goals last season for Bruges, for Jugla. And picked ahead of Borja Iglesias for this game. Borja Iglesias is on the bench.
So I think Celta, the way they use the fullbacks, that's what they try to concentrate more players on the inside, trying to liberate the wide areas for fullbacks. But certainly the talent, I think, for Celta today is there with that triangle. Jugla, Aspas and Pablo Duran.
Well, we saw Mingueza join himself as a wing-back last season, but he played his way into the Spain squad.
Played in many positions last year.
And he played not just as a wing-back, but as you say, in many positions. Gazzaniga's kick. Carlos Dominguez out for a Girona throw.
Mitchell not happy. I think he's trying to ask his players to play through, try to play those passes that Celta is doing. But yeah, move the ball back. Celta is not really letting them find that optional pass or that pass that will allow them to break the pressure. And as sometimes happens, a long ball is probably the best and safest of the options.
Well, he said this week they didn't like the way his team were attacking. Javi Rodriguez, is Hugo Sotelo.
Sotelo is one of the players that is starting all the games. He has great numbers in terms of passing forward. Numbers looking earlier compared to Vitinha or Fabian in terms of, I think Fabian has 100 passes, Hugo has 73. So again, I think it's important, this kind of team, that these midfielders that always looking for the pass forward.
Well, to be mentioned in the same sentence as those two, Fabian Ruiz and Vitinha.
Not bad.
Not at all. And he changes his team with great regularity. This man here, Fernandez. But one thing, as you say, he's not changing at the moment. It's the centre midfield where it is Elisha and Hugo Sotelo. Juklas ball through, not Aspas, I said it was Aspas. Juklas ball through and Aspas almost finished the move.
I think it's important, as Celta, you want Aspas to be involved as much as possible, obviously not trying to be very open in terms to make him run. He wants him to be in positions where he can, near the box, obviously finishing, but also giving the last pass. If you managing that, that's why he's in behind Juklas, to try to do that and not make him run big distances. As long as they can that forward as they are right now is great for Celta.
Fernandez back to Carlos Dominguez. Here's Aspas. Rocco is the only goal scorer so far this season. He's got to mention just for one goal, 10 conceded. That's why he's so frantic. Mitchell.
Still more focused on attack than defense. It's surprising me that you concede so many goals and so easily. It's still encouraging team to improve the numbers in attack. As we saw there, the pressure is not great. Also, Mitchell mentioned he has a lot of players that haven't really played, trained with the team, so a lot of movements and tactics are not really in place yet. But it seems, as we saw there, a lot of players getting a bit late on the pressure and allowing a lot of spaces for Celta to find those passes. Again, so, yeah, we're receiving very the space.
Pass. Decision goes Rodriguez's way. Gunay plays it back to Dali Blind. Part in that season when they finished in the Champions League place.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, again, we were saying like the players that left and the players that came in, nothing against those, but the way they performed and the numbers they had, I think, were difficult to find again. And that's also a system that is really settling the team, that the team felt very identified with. And sometimes, yeah, teams just, things work perfectly one season, next season you need to reinvent yourself again.
Spree trying to go around the outside of Mingueza. No one in support, so Celta are able to clear. Pablo Duran back to Mingueza. He takes a chance playing that one into Sotelo. Sotelo took a chance as well, and he wins the foul, which is taken quickly. Aspas. Long towards Carrera. Back it goes to the captain. Switch to Mingueza. Back to Carlos Dominguez. Roca will feel maybe a little hard done by there. He's adjudged to have fouled Aspas, so free kick to Celta Vigo.
Yeah, I was always going to ask for See the line where it's 5 now, but it's Bitzel. I think because of the way Aspas is playing in between the lines, forcing him to go on the line of 5 when he gets in Bitzel. It's Atletico Madrid playing as a centre back. I think he's more comfortable in midfield. But again, all the time that Blin gets the ball, Celta is making it difficult for them to find those passes.
Blin has to go long and gives the ball away because
of course. Because instead of the first option what he saw when he had in doubt, put that ball long. But I think because he's being demanded on passing, until he's being forced to do so, and then you give the ball away easily.
Pass goes straight to Amai. Joel Roca. Up against Javi Rodriguez. Still Roca. Back it goes to Ivan Martin. Asprilla into Arnau. Ivan Martin in support. Bernat waits on the edge of the penalty area. Asprilla up against Mingueza once more. Arnau offers himself on the overlap, but there's a misunderstanding between those two. It's a goal kick for Celta.
Yeah, but that's what they needed. They needed players making runs into the space, because it was very nice how they're keeping the ball, but really not going anywhere, and it was easier for Celta to defend. You need, like Arnau was trying, although it stopped, but those kind of movements for the players with the ability in the pass, like Asprilla, to be able to put those passes.
Aspas doesn't win the foul this time. I thought it was Dupla. He didn't get the decision. The shot from Bernat and into the back of the net. And what a start to his career at Girona. Well, they want him to be the new Dogbik. And he's not made a bad start at all. He's only been on the pitch in a Girona shirt for 12 minutes. He scores past Radu. The small pocket of Girona fans celebrate inside the Abanca Balaidos. And it is Celta Vigo 0, Girona 1.
Yes, by protesting the potential foul.
Well, it's Blind and Jukla.
But then it doesn't like that. And that's what we're saying. That you need runners. When you have players that go on the ball, in this case, Ivan Martin, great finish by the way, Ivan.
Well, he got 15 goals last season, Vladislav Bannett for Dynamo Kiev. 17 goals last season, 15 million euros spent, and well, the perfect start.
Great finish with the inside of the foot, getting away from the goalkeeper to the opposite post. Great finish.
This was all around the Banca Balaidos. From the replay we've seen, it looked to be 6-1, as they say, in half a dozen. The other both players went down.
You can argue. I think both could argue. Could be given, could not be given. Was certainly a tough challenge. If nothing, of course, no goal. Nobody would say anything, but it cost the goal to Celta, and that's why the fans were not happy with it.
Long ball out to Mingueza. Can Celta respond quickly? Played into Elias. Tried to put it across the face of the 6-yard box. Sliding in was Victor Ice, and it's gone out for a goal kick. Well, he's come, Vladislav Banat, with the reputation of being a finisher, in the sense that he's not maybe going to offer what Dobbik offered in terms of holding the ball up. He doesn't have the same physical presence, you can see him there, but he takes his chance as well, and he certainly took that chance well, leaving Rayo with no chance.
Well, when you have a proper number 9, but you have Unahi, Aspilla, Joel Roca, Ivan Martin, players that are good on the ball, that you need someone in the be clinical to get those chances. And again, the way he finished it is a proper number 9. Not messing out, knowing exactly what he was doing, but kicking the ball in that way.
Loose pass again, gives possession to Onai. He sends it across the pitch to Ivan Martin. Full of confidence now, Vanat lays that one off to Onai, and his shot takes a deflection as the goalkeeper managed to keep that in play. He has. Well, they did their best to replace Dobbik last season. Girona, they signed Miovski from Aberdeen, they signed Abel Reith. Neither of those two signings worked out. Is it going to be third time lucky for them with the signing of Banat?
So far it seems
so far so good, yeah. Carreras with the throw, Sotelo with the up and under towards Jukla.
What is football now? That goal obviously changed the game completely. Now it's Girona a bit more comfortable with the ball, instead of kind of trying to find their way back their way.
And psychologically, it must be huge. You've been on the pitch 10 minutes for your new team and you score.
Yeah, and from Celta perspective, you've been dominating, you've been getting there, you've been making it difficult for Girona, and you conceding a goal so early, it does create a sense of doubt for Celta.
Aspas lays that one off for Mingueza.
And of course a sense of confidence to Girona. We see now even a bit more aggressive in the way they have something to defend. Yeah.
Duran back to Elias, into Mingueza, and he tried to give it back to Aspas. Didn't come off, but they had possession still with Carrera. Trying to shake off Alex Moreno. Aspas out to Jukla. Jukla with a cross towards Elias. Gets the shot away. It's blocked by Onai. Here's Vladislav Banat. Onai.
I think that Onai already likes to move around, be involved on the ball, kind of dictating the tempo in those small spaces.
Well, he is perpetual motion. He broke a record in League One in France for kilometres covered in a game against Marseille, and he also clocked up more kilometres than any other player on the pitch in that marathon game against Spain that we spoke about earlier.
That's certainly one.
Mingueza goes long for Pablo Duran. Jukla in support. Elias with a bit of space on the edge of the area. Aspas.
Looking to his right foot.
Here's Carrera. Ali Rodriguez. What kind of cross can he produce from the byline? And in the end it goes beyond everyone, Adam now included, out for a throw.
Well defended by Girona, because he had all the time to think sometimes it's not good, but he tried to put a good cross, but he couldn't find any free Celta players on the box. The way Girona defended that, all the possible angles were covered.
That's by Alex Moreno. Joel Roca finds Alex Moreno once more. Nice, back to Hugo Sotelo. Nice. Goes back to Arnau. He's Danny Blind. Arnau finds Unai.
It was more in a holding position now. We see him more making the runs more freely. I think it helps the centre backs when in the beginning when you have the two midfielders in front of you too close. He's bringing Celta players closer to you. In that way, you go out, you take the defenders as well, and that's giving the time to Blind and Vitor Reis more time to be on the ball and to decide where to pass it.
He's come a long way up his goal, which will cause palpitations among the Girona fans, given the start to the season he's had, but it turned out okay.
Still ahead of Ivakovic.
Yeah, Mitchell keeps his place in the team. Joel Roca wins the corner. Last touch from Javi Rodriguez. Asprilla taking his time to come across and take the corner. 3 goals last season. Asprilla, huge boots to fill because they wanted him to do the things that Savinho was doing, and well, you mentioned earlier.
Really different players. I think also the price tag came with a bit of pressure on Mitchell himself.
The corner that's had it wide in the end.
Mitchell himself mentioned at one point, which I was surprised. Maybe number 10 was a bit too big number for Asprilla when he first arrived. He's definitely a very technical, talented player. On his feet, able to show scoring goals from outside the box. Last pass.
Chance here for Celta. Chipper wide. The cross comes in. It went between Pablo Duran and Aspas. Comes out to Mingueza. Jukla still in the penalty area, and he was a hair's breadth from getting on the end of that. Ferran Jukla.
Yeah, those two are working well. First Jukla tried to find Aspas and Pablo Duran in the box. And then Mingueza tried to find Jukla.
Back to Sergio Carrera. Jukla and Pablo Duran again. The players in the middle. It's half cleared. Joel Roca.
Now, every time Celta attacks, Witsel makes the third centre half. He's not even going for as midfielder, he goes as a defender.
So that's for Asprilla. He goes for goal, and well, that's a little bit of what we saw too often last season. He had options there, including Van Aert in the middle, and you can see Mitchell's not happy.
Yeah, because it was a bit forced. He was like, okay, I'm going to shoot because I have to shoot, instead of looking for something else. He has the ability to do that, and I think that's why Mitchell, he was angry, because look, go and try to get those guys in a better position, because he has that shot.
Well, Sigenkov is still out injured. They do have Brian Hill, another of the late signings. They're on the attack here. Unai, another chance for Asprilla, maybe. No, it's cut out by Manu Fernandez. He can carry it forward, and Girona have got some players high up the pitch here. Celta don't do the best of taking advantage of that. Unai into Joel Roca. Ivan Martin. Ivan Martin, one of the survivors of Girona's glorious campaign when a couple of times in the season it seemed they might not even be in the title race. A long time ago it seems now. They've won back Celta, Jutla, Pablo Duran and Aspas ahead of him. He plays it back to Hugo Sotelo. Mingueza wants it. It's played instead to Jutla. And it goes out to Oscar Mingueza.
He was thinking in the next action, so he missed the first touch.
This life not the hack.
Well, that's the that's the incident between Blind and Jutla. Nice pass from Ivan Martin, and Banat does the rest.
The finishing is fantastic. It's those balls where you don't have to put much power, just direction, and majority of times you put it there, it goes in. You have to put it there though.
Trying to hold that up, but he hasn't been able to. Pablo Duran gets the shot away over the top. But Girona caught out, playing out from the back.
Fouled, I think he hits him, but he's always trying to control the ball. Unfortunately, the Celta player, he gets kicked, but he was looking the ball, I think. Anyway, yeah, it's one of the faults. So he's looking the ball all the time. Unfortunately for Javi Rodriguez, there's a free kick and yellow card.
First caution of the game from Adrian Cordero, the match referee. It's Jorge Figueroa who's the video assistant referee for this game. Aspas, Carreras to his right, Jutla ahead of him. Mingueza lurking at the back post. It was played to the edge of the 6-yard box. Dali Blind clears. And Vladislav Banat wins the free kick. Brings it out for Girona. And now back to Blind. Asprilla let that run for Banat. He's on the ball now. Asprilla. Arnaus furthest forward down the right as they come down this left-hand side with Joel Roca. Roca carries it inside and gets the shot away, and comfortably held in the end by Radu.
Well played now for Girona, starting on the right side, passing probably what we're trying to do from the beginning of the game. Also because obviously Celta, with tiredness, they do not get in there on time. Rushing by Girona.
Pereira. Mingueza to Sotelo. Almost won back by Vanya, but they still have it. Celta. Aspas. Ilash into Pablo Duran. Not fouled, says the referee Cordero. Ilash. Mingueza. For the moment, Pablo Duran is still down. Here's Elias, Ukraine support, but Girona come away with it. Arnau. Out to Esprilla. So Esprilla will do well to play on here because Ivan Martinez back on his feet. Carrera tried to find Alex Moreno, but Celta come away with it. Aspas. Don't get too far though. Here's Roca once more. Banat trying to hold it up. Nice back to Manu Fernandez. Into Javi Rodriguez. Fernandez with the run. He almost was given that back into the shooting opportunity, but it's cleared for a throw.
Celta player last one to touch.
Played one more league game than everyone else bar Betis, Celta. 4 games so far. 3 of those at home, beaten on the opening day by Getafe, and draws against Betis and Villarreal in the Banca Balaidos.
It was last win in May.
Yeah.
To go long way back to get a victory. Celta home.
It always seems unfair to count the previous season, but yeah, we do that. We're saying that Girona as well.
Yeah,
they've not
gone the summer as well.
Yeah, exactly. Not 1 in 5, counting the last 2 of last season.
Yeah, but it's surprising, no? Like, Girona, since he arrived, you would have thought Celta because especially last year with the centenary, all the things that are going in the club, home would be the place where they secure more points, and it's not. It seems to be finding it difficult to win at home.
Lisa into Jukla.
It seems like the game players, both teams, are wasting or spending too much energy and time protesting rather than getting on with whatever is happening.
Well, that was certainly Celta's problem when Girona scored.
Yeah, it's different in that to outcome of it.
It's won the free kick. It looks like he wants more than that. He wants a card.
Again, around. Get on with it, just play, let the referee do his job. Both players protesting. Too many actions right now.
Lind into Onai. He's turned away nicely into space there. Still Onai. Elias can clear for Celta Vigo. Taras, 19 years old, comes in really to replace Kreshy, who left in the summer. Kreshy probably the best of the signings they made at the start of last season, and even then, not hugely successful, but probably of the players that they brought in, he was was the most met expectations, hence the fact that he's been able to move on. Under pressure from Sotelo. Trying to play that quickly into Asprilla. Throw to Celta. Rodriguez. One ball forward towards Aspas, cut out by Witzel. So it goes back to Dali Blind. Nicely away from Jukla into the Celta half, releases Joel Roca. He can have a run at Javi Rodriguez. He's got Onai in support, cuts inside, tees up Asprilla for a cross or a shot. Asprilla twisting one way, turning the other. They still have it, Girona. Joel Roca. It's trickled out in the end for a goal kick.